sojourn is inevitable. No one can lift the weight for you. The path must be walked by you, but make no mistake, we are not meant to pursue this path alone. We're not meant to be alone. Had some friends in town recently, about 2 weeks ago, and we were out getting drinks, and I went from, usually I don't drink, usually just get a virgin margarita or spicy margarita, and which is a spicy lemonade basically, which are quite tasty. But on the second drink, I said, you know what, actually I'm going to get a margarita. And the waitress said, you want a real one, so you want it with alcohol? I said, yeah, you can make it a real one. I've got about 10 friends in a circle around this little fireplace area, sitting on the couches here in LA, and we're having a blast, but it's quite loud. So when she brings the drink, she puts it down, and I take a sip, and just joking around, I say, oh no, does this have alcohol in it? And the waitress just looked at me. She's like, I'm sorry, what did you say? Wide-eyed. I said, does this have alcohol in it? And she goes, yes, I thought you wanted a regular one. And just joking around to add some entertainment to the evening. I've been a waiter before, so these kinds of things, and we had already been joking back and forth. So these kinds of things can really break up a monotonous evening at a restaurant. And so she was shocked for about 3 or 4 seconds. And I said, I haven't had a drink in 6 years. I'm sober. And she couldn't believe it and put her hand over her mouth. I said, I'm so sorry. And then I said, no, I'm just kidding. Just joking. And her name was Bethany. We were joking back and forth. The whole group of friends were joking with her. And many of us had been waiters before. So it's always fun to have rapport with the waitress. And she was dying laughing afterwards. She was in a bit of, like I said, shock for about 8 or 9 seconds. And maybe it was an unnecessary practical joke, but I think everybody thought it was fun and memorable in the positive sense. But what happened afterwards was my buddy Ben said, yeah, no, it's okay, but James won't be flying any planes tonight. And she goes, oh, you fly planes? And I said, no, but especially not tonight, because I had this alcoholic drink. And then Ben, we've all been friends for like 25 years. And Ben said, and he won't be doing any sojourning. And so in my head, I'm like, sojourning? Yeah, no sojourning tonight. No walking off alone. And then he starts dying laughing in this loud bar restaurant. He clarifies, it's like, no, I said no surgeries. And I said, yeah, no surgeries tonight. That's right. And no sojourning. Then I couldn't stop thinking about the word sojourn. A friend next to me, Ajay, who's part of the Venice Vedantic Club and lives here in LA, he said, we're all just sojourning alone together. He didn't mean it in a philosophical way, but as soon as he said that, I damn near put my hand on my mouth. Sojourning together. Pulled out my phone, wrote it down, and reflected on it the next day. Because that is so much of what the spiritual path is. So much of what life is. The value of community it's paramount. As I've said on the podcast before, the story of 2 followers going up to the Buddha and asking what's most important, the Buddha, the Dharma, or the Sangha, the teacher, the Buddha, you, the Dharma, the teaching, or the Sangha, the community in truth. And as the story goes, without hesitation, the Buddha says the Sangha is most important. The community is most important. More important than the teacher, more important than the teaching, which every time I tell that story, it still blows my mind how radically different a Western cultural norms are where the teacher is by far more important than anything else. Maybe their teaching, for a few of them, it's the book, their magnum opus, that is more important than the teacher, but certainly both are more important than the community. There isn't a single college class that I ever had where I thought, yeah, the other people in this class more important than the teaching or the revered professor that I fought to get in this or that class with. So the value of the community cannot be overstated. In Vedanta, Sangha or satsang, another Sanskrit word for the same thing, community and truth, it is paramount in our pursuit. But we're still a fish swimming around in, might be the most vibrant satsang or Sangha out there, in a fishbowl, but swimming alone. A fish in a school of 1,000, 1,000,000 fish, heavily influenced, hopefully positively influenced by that community, by that school, by that group, by that satsang, but eternally alone. That is, in the relative sense, we are eternally alone. Every embrace of a loved one is an attempt to merge, to not be alone. We feel it deep within our bones, this aloneness. And that is because we are alone. Alone together. But the spiritual path is a sojourn together, not alone and wallowing complacently, but a sojourn, a journey, solo journey together. But you'll hear it said at the ashram, Joseph, one of my teachers, the other host of Yoga for Your Intellect, will remark on it even 30 years in, how remarkably alone we can find ourselves as we work through whatever challenge is in front of us. The help of the community, again, it is invaluable. The gym you go to, how it's set up, the warmth and receptivity of the staff there, the cleanliness, these things are all important, but it is your solo journey that takes you to the bar, that puts on or takes off the weight, that lifts it up, that lays out the clothes, that gets the gym bag, that parks the car to go again and again and again, even if it's your favorite class of the week. And it's a group of 30 people, and yet it is a solo journey. This phrase, sojourning together, it was quite sobering to reflect on. Sobering from the sense of both of the words. It is a sojourn. You listening to this, no matter how close you might be living right next door to a realized master, and yet it is still a sojourn. But that second word is so powerful too. The sojourn is inevitable. No one can lift the weight for you. The path must be walked by you, but make no mistake, we are not meant to pursue this path alone. We're not meant to be alone. The value of the community, like I said, cannot be overstated. It is so powerful, and yet, like the gym, it's our own individual choices that take us to that community, that get us to return to that community. Over time, it becomes a preference. It's just like going to your favorite restaurant. It is a joy, a delight. Getting into the car, the anticipation is joyful. But in the beginning, it takes real work to build a new habit. And if you're like me, where you listen to lectures like these, and it feels really alone, it's so simple to DM the Instagram account for Daily Vedantic. I check it all the time, always replying to people. If you're ever in LA, you can come to a meeting here. Much more importantly, you can join the e-learning program, the online lectures from the ashram through the app. So simple, so convenient. Go visit the ashram in India. You can take classes with Joseph, one of my teachers now for a decade. Though we are innately and inevitably alone in this path, sojourning, we don't have to do it alone. We can and we should do it together. It's a nice, comforting thought when sobered by the aspects of how individual this path, any philosophical or religious path, how much of it is an independent, individual set of choices. It can be quite sobering, but it can be quite comforting and ultimately positively influential when we do it together. So if you've had inkling of connecting, it is so easy to do from probably the very device that you're listening to this on. We also include our email in the show notes, which you can reach out. It is a sojourn, but we are not meant to do it all by ourselves. It is a sojourn, but we're meant to do it together. That is today's reflection on the Daily Vedantic. We'll see you next time.